Hi everybody and welcome back to Nellie and Ruth Designs. Today I'm going to be using up some scrap papers that I used in some family photos in my scrapbooks that I recently worked on. And I'm going to try to be better about using up my scraps when I get done. Instead of just putting them in the scrap bin, I want to make up some little ephemera pieces for my other scrapbooks and my junk journals. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to work with these scraps, and I think it'll be a fun project, so I would love to have you stick around. I'm going to set these aside. I also thought I would use some of the Your Creative Studio paper here. I don't know if I'll be able to incorporate it or if I want to, but I pulled that. I save all of my tissue paper when I used to buy their products. So I'm going to set this aside for just a moment, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to work with. This here is just a little piece of cardboard or cardstock, whatever you want to call it. And I had some vellum papers that I had ordered. And when I reorganized my stash, I took everything out, put it in my cigar boxes, and I set these aside. And I wanted to work with these. So I have that there. This here is from Your Creative Studio. Again, this was filled with a paper pad, and the front of each piece of paper looks like this. And I just pulled this out, and I thought I would, eventually use this. So I have these two pieces. And then I have a really pretty postcard that I want to make a picture frame out of. And the picture frame is going to hold, this is an old vintage photo of my mom. My mom's right there with her girlfriends. And I'm trying to get some ephemera made up so I can finish her scrapbook, the photo album that I have going. So I want to use this black and white photo. And then I have this label. It's a Paper Studio label that you can buy these. They come in a pack of 3 at Hobby Lobby. And I pulled out some dark. I wanted some black little fasteners for this. So that's what I'm going to use today. I'm not sure. I think what I want to do when I make this, it's going to have a saying in here about friendship. And I just thought that would be really nice. But I just love these old photos. So this is the photo that I'm going to incorporate and try to use today. So let's get started. The first thing I want to do is, I was looking at this, and I think what I want to do is I want to have a little enclosure. I want it to be a flap. So I'm going to adhere, I believe I'm going to adhere this to this paper here, and then this can flap up like this. And then I'm going to attach this to the front right here. And then I'll be able to lift this up, lift this down, and I want to have the photo in here. And then I think I'll have the friendship saying down in here. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll do the friendship saying on the front. I really don't know yet exactly where I'm going with this. So it's just going to be a trial by error type project. But I do know that I want it like this here. So my next decision is, do I adhere this first onto here, and then I guess maybe I will, although I got to think about this. If I'm going to have this overlap and I'm going to attach this here, I have a feeling I should put my paper or whatever I'm going to put on here first. because it will be kind of hard to do that afterwards. So I think I will do that first. Now again, I don't know if I want to just, because this is a nice card stock, I don't know if I want to add just some tissue paper to it, or I could add maybe this butterfly to the front, and it is going to be covered up, but that might be kind of cool to do that. So I think what I will do is I will cut the butterfly out first. Maybe I could just, even if that comes there like that. And I think I will have it overlap a little bit. So maybe I'm just going to sketch this out a little bit. Have it come down a little bit more. And like I said, this is all, let me say, this is all an experiment. Put that over there. And I'm going to come up to this section here. And we don't have to worry about the back, because that will be, that is going to be glued down, so you won't see that. So I'm thinking that may be just fine like that. But I don't know if I want, that there like that. Yeah. All right, so I'm not going to do that. What I was thinking of is taking a piece of the bottom of this here, and I think that's what I'm going to do, and gluing that on the bottom. So what I will do is I'm just going to trace around this and cut this. And I'm going to want this to come up like this. All right. So sometimes you just never know where you have something in mind, but you just really don't know where it's going to take you. So and I'm going to want to score this line here so it bends better with this. So let me get out my little score buddy. And we will score this. And somebody keeps calling the house. And all right, so if we put this over here like this. All right, so if I have that at 1, 1.5, I could score it there. So this would be, is that right? So 1.5. Let's try this. Like I said, it's just kind of, yeah, I think that will be fine. And I haven't even really thought about what kind of glue I want to use with this as well but we'll get there. And I'm going to trim this. I think I can get away with trimming it ahead of time. I'm going to take just a little tiny bit of this off here. And this is where it seems to get, this seems like it gets tedious, and it is kind of tedious. So if I find that I'm having to play with something a little bit more, I may just step away, and I think what I'll do is I may start here, glue it down, and then work this way. So, and I think because this dries so quickly, I think I am going to use my art glitter glue for this. Yep. Okay, so we're going to put this here. I just want to make sure that that's level, or not level, but even. Okay. All right, and I'm going to trim this here. Okay. And then because this is going to flip up, I also have to think about finishing off the inside as well. So I'm going to do that with a lighter paper, something that will go, I'll pull my scrap, something that will go with this, because if I have the photo, you always have to be thinking, if I have the photo up here, then I'm going to want to have some coordinating paper over here. So I think that would be just fine, this style here. And I'm going to move all of this over here to the right because it's just in my way. And I may end up using this here because it's a little and I'd rather have just this at the top. So what I'm going to do again is I'm just going to I think I'll just cut a piece and then glue it all on, then cut around it again. Oh, well, that didn't serve me very well, did it? All right, so I'm going to cut a little bit bigger on each side. All right. It's an absolutely beautiful day here. And I was really torn as to whether I should be outside in the gardens or making this video. And I feel so behind with all of my YouTube and that sort of stuff that I figured I better get in here and do something. My husband's shoulder surgery set me back as well, you know, going back and forth to Cleveland and checkup appointments and things like that. So I just feel like I'm behind the 8 ball with a lot of things. So, okay, we're going to put this here, and this can go anywhere really, because we're just going to, I'm going to cut around that. I got to be careful there. I don't want to cut that paper. I don't want to tear that. And this is where it can get kind of sticky too, because I have to kind of mold this. You want to be careful where it doesn't cut and crinkle a lot. Okay. All right. So that is on there. Let's cut this. I'm trying to cut in just a little bit, if you know what I mean, into the groove there. Okay, so let's get rid of these. Okay. All right. I just have to be careful because I don't want to tear that. Okay, and then this plate, then this will go on here like that. Okay, so let's see, what are we going to do next? What is the next thing we're going to do? Are we going to, so this is going to go on here as such. And that will go on like that. So far so good. And I'm going to just distress this a little bit. And I don't need to go all the way down because this is going to be covered up here. Okay, so the next thing I've got to think about, do I want, so this is going to go right straight across with the frame in it. So I don't have to do any collage work or anything on here. This is another story. I'll want to do something down here, and I'm wondering if I just shouldn't continue with this paper here. I'd like to run a band of washi tape across here, and let's see if I have the saying. like to have it somewhat match. So I just have to decide, do I want to have some of this incorporated? Or do I just want more of the plain? What do you think? I think maybe I should just have more of the plain because I don't want to take away from that area there. So I think that's what we will do. I'm going to use this here. So again, before I get too rambunctious, I'm going to take a nice piece of washi tape and put it on here to cover that up. And I want a thicker piece. So maybe this here. Maybe something like this here. You hear that chainsaw? Can you hear the chainsaw behind me? I'm still having trees thinned out. Having trees thinned out on our property because it's so dense with underbrush and things like that I'm just going to move this over a little bit more. Okay. And I'm just going to clip that off. Okay. All right, that's done. Sticky, sticky, sticky. Okay, so now I'm going to put my glue on this. I'm gonna flip this over, and we are going to. I want to get rid of this white, this little bit of white here where I took it out of the paper pad. So I'm just going to cut this a little bit. Okie dokie. So we're going to put that like that. I feel like I'm moving kind of quickly on this. I guess if I think too much about it, I would change my mind or whatever. I guess I'm not going to do it. So this, I want to have it right up to here, right? Yes, right up to there. And then when I'm all done with this, I won't feel bad about throwing away the remaining scraps. I might punch some circles, but I will have used most of it up. And made something, you know, nice out of it for my scrapbook or my junk journal. Okay, so we have that and that. Okay, right? That. We have that. Okay. All right, so I just want to make sure. I think you know what I'm thinking here because the way it folds, because I've got the front here. Whereas if I do it this way, no, that's right. I fold it up that way. Yep. Okay. All right. I better get this down before I say to myself, oh no, that's wrong. I don't want to do that. All right. So this one here, I am going to add some tape to the back of it just to add a little extra reinforcement. And because this is working out so well, I'm going to continue with my art glitter glue. Okay. All right, I want to make sure that I get this really good because this, like I said, this art glitter glue dries pretty fast. So that's pretty much centered. I'm not too worried if it's off just a little tiny bit. Okay. Okay, so that's down. That will go like that. That will go on there like that. And then this will be, I will put something on the back of here. And then this is the front, it flops down. Okay, so now I'm going to get this part done here. I don't want to do anything. I want to do this last because I don't want anything to happen to the photo. So let's work on this here. And again, I think I'm going to, I have a brown here that maybe I will border. I will border this. And then I will, so let's do this. Let's cut this out. This is going to be, shy of 4. So it's 3 7/8. Let's see here. I want to get my smaller. Well, let's try this one. Let me get my big one. So what did I say it was? 4. Yeah, 3 7/8. Let's see if I can. Let's try this here. Okay, gotta go just a little bit. A little more with that. Okay, that's better. Okay, and then again. Okay, that's good. That's good like that. All right, and then for the bottom, I'm not going to remove this yet. I think maybe, let me see here. I'd like something a little bit wider. And I think maybe I might, maybe I will just continue with this here. I'm only going to use these scraps. I'm not going to pull anything else out. I refuse to do that. Maybe I can use the blues because there's some blue there. So if I want a border, I'm going to do this at, I'd like to keep a little bit bigger border, maybe 3.5. I'm going to get a straight. Is that straight? Yeah, okay, all right. I'm going to take all these odd angles off. I'll do a little bit more, maybe 3. 3.75. And if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. 3.75. I have to try to keep things in line for everybody. Yeah, and that just has a nice little border around it to put on there like this. All right. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm also going to stitch. I'm going to do a nice stitch around this. So I'm going to have it this way. I'm just going to put this on a little bit here, a little tape, double-sided tape. And I'm going to also distress it. And I'm going to take it over to the sewing machine. And I'm going to do a zigzag. I'm going to do a combo of zigzag and straight. I think that will be fun on here. I will get that stitched and I will be right back. So I have this all stitched up, and sometimes what I like to do is I like to do a straight stitch, then zigzag, straight. It just gives it a little, just a little variety. And if you don't have a sewing machine, the other thing that you can do, if you have I'll just use this as a scrap. If you have a fine tip black marker, which I do have one, I just have to see which one it is. Oh, hold on here. So I want to show you. Okay, right here. What you can do, so no frets, you know, you can glue your paper on here, and then you can just do a zigzag and then do a straight stitch down, a zigzag, and you can just pencil it in yourself, and you can make your, this is just a rough, but you can make your stitches as tiny as you want. You know, you can make them like this, but you don't have to, and you can, you know, make them a little bit darker. You do not have to have a sewing machine to do this. So you can do doodles around, you know, whatever you're working on, and that will look just as nice as if you were to stitch it. I just like to stitch it. So I'm going to put this, I'm going to glue this on here. And again, I want to make sure that I get it on halfway decent because I'm going to use the art glitter glue. And maybe I won't. Maybe this time I will use my double-sided tape, because then I know it won't come off and it won't peel back. So let me get that. And this is the score tape that I use. This is the 1/4 inch. So I'm going to put this right up here like this. Sometimes it's just easier. My goodness, not easier for me to cut it. I use this tape a lot when I'm making a junk journal, because it really does hold up quite nicely, and it's very strong tape. Okay. And someone asked me the other day how they get their transparent stickers apart. They're having a hard time. And I did reply, but this is a good, if you have a little tool, if you have a really flat paddle or something, sometimes you can just bend the corner back a little bit, or you can just get under a piece of it and take it back. I really didn't have any great words of wisdom on that. You know, I told her you just have to have a lot of patience as well, because sometimes it's just, and I'm going to put a couple pieces in the down here as well. You just have to have patience, I think, with some of this stuff. And just take your time and don't be in a hurry. And plan it out. I mean, sometimes, you know, maybe you can get your, if you can get your stickers peeled ahead of time, you could put them on a piece of, peel them and put a part of them on a piece of parchment paper until you're ready to use them. All right, so there's going to be the front. And then I found this cute saying. It says partners and pals. So I thought that would be really cute on the front. I'll put that on after, but right now what I want to do is I want to get the inside of this done. So I figure I want to show, I could go 3 by 3. I think what I'm going to do is do 3 by 3. I'm going to cut the photo out as a 3 by 3, but then I'm going to narrow it down to just the women. That way I'll have a little something extra. I mean, I could, I'm going to start this way. And I may also not necessarily center this. I may have it off on the side a little bit. So that's the other thing that I'm thinking about, the positioning of this and where exactly I want to have it. I mean, I could have the gals down here in the far corner, but I still think centering it would be lovely. And I think my opening, I want to have it, I want to make sure I get all their elbows and toes in there. So I could do 2.5. I could do 2.5 by 2.5. And then if I find that's too small, I could enlarge it a little bit. But I'm going to do 2.5 by 2.5. And then what I have to decide now is if I want to take this up or if I want to have some of this green showing. I may leave it just like that. Maybe I'll take just a little bit off of the top. So this here, again, it's going to be, I have to think of that crease there. Three and 3/4. Is that it? Maybe just shy of 3 3/4. So I have to be careful with this. So just shy of 3 3/4. I'm going to take a little bit off of the bottom here. Take a little bit off of that blue. So right now I'm going to do it just a little past 3 3/4 because I want to see where I'm at. Remember, it's better to not take enough than to take too much all at once. All right, so we're just going to do a little bit more. We're going to bring that right to now just past the 3 3/4 a little bit. Just a little bit at a time. And I think that might be because you have to think about your crease on the bottom. And I think that will be just fine. I think that'll be perfect. All right, and then I want to take a little bit off of the left side here. And what do we say? Is this more than 3 3/4? So we're going to start, I'm going to start this at 4. And I'm going to come in between. Like I said, just a little tiny bit each time. And just another little, I think that's good. Just a smidgen, and I mean a smidgen. Just a smidgy smidge. Okay. So curlicue. All right. So that is going to fit on right there like that. All right, so now we're going to have our gals, and this is going to be the tricky part. So I'm going to work from the back side here. So I think this will be the best way here to work with this. So I'm going to draw a line here, 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 and here. And then I want to make this 2.5, right? Yeah, I'm going to make it 2.5. So what I'm going to do, because this is where I want to center it, I'm going to slide this out carefully. And I got this here and this here, right? Two and a half. So we're going to put that back in there like that. And then, this is probably the ass backwards way to do this, but this is how I'm doing it. And then we've got, I'm going to put a little mark right there for now. And I'm going to bring this down to about here. So I'm going to move this out. Here and here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this with my X-Acto knife. I'm going to put it on. Let's see if I can. This is the smart way to do it. We're going to put it here. Actually going to turn it this way so I get the straight line. And I'm going to use this little piece of washi tape to and we're going to here. Just make sure this makes sense to me. Bring this up a little bit. There. Is this right? That. All right, so we have our little template on the back. That's not quite 2.5, less than 2.5. You can always make it a little bit bigger. All right, so I'm going to cut this. You didn't think you'd have all this detailed work today, did you? Okay. And like I said, I'd rather have it I'm going to cut this with my lights off because the glare is too much. So this cut out really well, and I want to show you what I did. I had to get my head right down over this, so I couldn't do it on camera. But what I did was I just lined it up where I had my pencil marks here. as best I could. And then I used the line on each side as a guide. I had attached it down with a piece of washi tape like this, just to show you. And then I went ahead and I turned it at the proper angle. And then I just lined it up with the lines here. And then I cut each line. And it worked out really well. So that's a little tip that you can use a grid to do your cutting and make sure that everything is lined up properly with your ruler. So it came out really good. And I can just make the little adjustment. I have enough room on the back side there to glue it in and glue it down. So this is a fun little project, and it's just something, again, it's just something a little different. And I think what I might do, because this, again, this is a little bit darker. I think it might be just a little too dark for the inside here. So I think what I might do is lighten it up with a little tiny bit of washi. And if I don't like it, I can take it off. So I thought, again, I would use the same washi that I used in the center. And I'm just going to take little tiny pieces like this. And again, it's just to lighten it up a little bit. Just going to set these aside here. And I'm going to wrap it around the frame a little bit. So maybe right here like this. And again, if I don't like it, I can always take it off. But it might, I'm thinking it might lighten it up just a little bit. Just take a little bit of this off here. This is tough washi to rip and tear. And maybe it won't. What's that? That is a funky. That song, play that funky music. Yeah, just to add. Just to add a little bit of lightness to this. It is kind of dark. And you can still somewhat see through the color. Just adds a nice little, just a little something. Yeah, I like that. Just lightens it just a little tiny bit. So I'm going to get this centered and glued on. And again, I think I'm going to use some double-sided tape. But I'm going to use my tape runner because this is a little bit lighter tape. And if I need to reposition it, right down to the end here. If I need to reposition it, I can pull it up. So we are going to try not to get my head in the mix here. Good. I think that's good. I think all the ladies are, look at that. There's my mom right there. There's my mama. My mama, mama, mama. And then we are going to get this adhered in here. And again, I'm going to use my double-sided tape just because I want to make sure I get that lined up properly. And I'm afraid with the tape, it might stick down too quickly. And we don't want that. So that's another nice way that you can use a postcard that, you know, maybe you just don't know how to use your postcards, or you don't, you know, you want a little bit of color, but you don't want to use a large postcard. You can always make a photo frame with it. And we'll just put a little piece across the back here. And we are almost done. Whoops. That didn't work out too well. Come on there, little doggy. Okay. All right, now we're going to put the ladies in here. Some of this is just more awkward to handle than it is just trying to, my goodness gracious. I know if I used a thicker glue or like a Fabri-Tac, I could move it around a little bit, but I wanted to use my double-sided tape here. I'm just going to take this paper here because I don't want to damage anything. And adhere this down. There. Okay. Look at that, isn't that cute? And then I'm going to put our partners and pals here. And I think I'm just going to put a little tiny bit of glue here and there. Really light. Just a smidgen. There. Just a smidgen. I think that'll hold quite nice. And now the only thing we have left to do is we're going to put this on. And I think what I'm going to do, because I don't know if I want these brads on the back side, but then again, it might not be too bad, huh? Because it just shows that it's adhered on there. I don't think that would be, I don't think that would be too awful, do you? To have that on there. It would just look like back in the old days. So I'm not going to fret about that either. Just going to make a little hole in here. One there. And one here. Come on, Barbie. There we go. There. I don't care if they show. I think that's fine. It just gives it a little more hardware character, doesn't it? I'll just turn them up like that. There, isn't that cute? And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to type up a little synopsis of my mom and her girlfriends, and then I can put that in her, I'll be able to put that in her scrapbook. So I think that is a very cute little, I'm going to put, I'll find something here. Maybe I'll just put maybe my mom's birthday on here, or the year. Maybe I can find the year that she was here with her girlfriends, and I'll just put the year in here, which I'm sure is probably 1930s. And then, yeah, I really think this is cute. And then I'll be able to put it in her scrapbook. So that's it. That's all I've got for you today. This little cute little project is finished. I hope you liked it. If you did, I'd love to have you give me a thumbs up. I'd love to hear your comments on it. And save all of your extra packaging, because that's, you can make cute little items such as this. So thanks, everybody, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.